Hello folks, welcome back to The Deranged Reader. On this channel I do horror book hauls, horror book reviews, horror movie reviews. If it's about horror, I do a video about it. So, happy the day after Christmas. I know I was not going to do another video till next week, but I decided, heck with it. I started on this book, might as well talk about it. So, I'm going to pull up the cover because I'm on chapter 9 of the book. So this is Number One Fan by Meg Ellison. And it says here, the bottom of it is, she created a beautiful world, now he wants it all. Okay. So, I'm going to explain what led me to this book. So, I was on Libby, and I typed in horror books because I typed in horror and it got me results that I just did not want. So I typed in horror books, maybe that would change things, and sure enough, I did still get some of the same results, but they were more horror-based, and definitely more of what I was looking for. So I was just scroll, not doom scrolling, but scrolling, and I found this book, Number One Fan, and I'm like, okay, you got my attention by the title of the book, so I tapped it, and I read the synopsis of the book, because that is what I'm going to be doing in 2026, is I'm going to read the synopsis of books. I don't care about popularity. So I read the synopsis, and I was reminded of another book, and I was like, this has got to be a retelling of that book, because I have never read the book that this is a retelling of. So, for context, I had known about Stephen King for quite a long time. I remember back when I was in my late 20s, me and my mom watched the one with the vampires, the cat, and they're not immune from cats. I think my mother watched it because it had cats in it, but Stephen King did a cameo in that movie. And he also did a cameo of Maximum Ride, or Maximum something, where he was a guy and the bank called him an asshole. It was funny. It was funny. But anyways, I wasn't really well versed in his litany of books that he had written. I know that he had, I'd known that he had been an author for quite a long time, but I did not know the names of a lot of his books. We watched Firestarter, another Stephen King adaptation, and that had Barry. I can't remember her name. But it was Barry something, or something Barry, or Barry something. But anyways, so I knew that at least two of his books had, or at least one of his books had been made into a movie. I did not know about The Shining. And I did not know about Carrie. So just to let you know, I did not know those movies existed. So, anyways, I was at the video store. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about the Bronze Age over here. I might be talking about the Victorian era. Okay, I understand that, guys. I do that all the time. I know. I'm talking about the Victorian era. I might be talking about the Stone Age to some people. I get it. I totally get it. But back in the Stone Age, we had video stores. We had Blockbuster, Hollywood Video. So I mean, written hieroglyphics, things like that. So anyways, I was in there. I was in one of these little temples to entertainment. And I saw this movie in the horror section called Misery by Misery. It said Stephen King's Misery. And I was like, wow, that looks interesting. So I went to my mother and showed my mother, the ancient manuscript. Yes, I'm doing it for all the people that were born after 2001, okay? So please let me humor myself. And so she told me, oh yeah, Misery is an adaptation of the book Misery by Stephen King. And I was like, so I was reading it and I was like, oh, what the heck? Why would a woman kidnap this author? Don't know. And she said, well, because she's a psycho. She told me right in front of children. She goes, oh, well, yeah, because Kathy Bates' character is a psycho bitch. So I never watched the movie, and I never read the book. So when I was told that this was a retelling of Misery, I'm thinking, now I want to buy the book. Now I want to buy the book. So number one fan, I've read 8 chapters of it. I'm probably going to read 2 more today because I gotta be at work at 9. I gotta work 9 to 2 today. But so this is basically about a woman called Ellie or Elizabeth, who is this best-selling author of this magical series. That I actually, if that was a real book, I would definitely not be interested in it at all. I would give me some high fantasy. And so she's kidnapped by this guy because she does what thousands and thousands of other people do. She gets in the car with someone she doesn't know. And while she is writing, she gets a text saying that there was a cancellation. And here's the thing, is the guy who kidnapped her is named Leonard. No, I'm pretty sure that she did not watch The Big Bang Theory, okay? And so Leonard is obsessed over her. Just like Kathy Bates' character is obsessed over this author. It has the same kind of dynamic. You have a place that is most likely, or he's most likely isolated himself from people around him. So in essence, his home is isolated from everybody around him. Kathy Bates' character had a house that was way, way, way out there. So there is similarities between Misery and this book. But it is considered a retelling of Misery. But this time, instead of it being a woman who captures a man, it is a man who captures a woman. But they have the same type of profession. They're both authors. And they're obsessed over their captive's work. Now, one of the things that indicates to Ellie that Leonard has read her books is the rules that he has set up, and they're nearly identical to the rules in her book. Like, you're not born with magic, blah, blah, blah. So, I'm reading this book. I've read like 8 chapters. I'm on chapter 9. I'm going to read 9 and 10, and then I'll be on chapter 11. There's like 30 or 31 chapters in this book. And so, she's trying to convince him that, hey, just let me go and I won't tell anybody about this. But he's not entirely dumb. He knows that she'll go to the police about it. She's trying everything to get away from him, to get out of the basement. He's got cameras. Definitely something that Kathy Bates' character would not have had. He has cameras, but he's not watching them all the time. Because now that he has her, and he had to get her password from her laptop, Now he has to pretend to be her because Elizabeth has these quirks. She has more quirks than I've seen anyone, but as an author, she would naturally have all these quirks. And so you have the assistant who knows something is wrong. I mean, there's just something in his gut that tells him that something is wrong. Ellie is in trouble. And she assumes that her assistant is not going to notice that she's gone. You know, if she lives, he's going to get a pay raise. He's going to get a pay raise. But literally, he suspects that there's something wrong. That Ellie is in trouble. That she's out there by herself. And so he goes to the FBI. Because the FBI, if she's missing, then she's in California. And he's in, I don't know what state he's in. So he goes to the FBI. And he tells the FBI, hey, look, I've got a bad feeling that Ellie is missing. And, gives her full name and all that. And, of course, the FBI is kind of like, well, trust your if you feel like there's something wrong, because she canceled her signing at this bookstore. She was really nervous about it. So he knows that's not like her at all. He knows her very well, but not in the same way that Leonard's do. Like, Leonard thinks he knows Ellie. He thinks he knows how to keep the police off of him, but he really doesn't, because he's an idiot. He's not the brightest apple in the barrel. Here's the weird thing about people like Kathy Bates' character and Leonard, is that they both think that they got their hostage under control. They don't have their hostage under control. The hostage will always find a way to get out. And hopefully, if it's going the same vein as Misery, that's what's going to happen. But as I said, I don't know. I don't know if she's going for a full retelling of Misery or she, But this has like a feminist battle cry bent, and I did not get it for that. When I saw, oh yeah, this is a retelling of Misery, I was like, oh great, I really want to read this. Not because of the other stuff. I'm the kind of person that I don't go for that stuff. I'm like, no, I don't. Just give me a retelling of something of a very classic and very unhinged Stephen King novel. But yeah, I mean, she finds ways to hurt this guy. She gets him in the freaking cheek, which he was not expecting. Well, it happens when you have a woman that is, determined. So, weird thing is the FBI calls the number, and weirdly enough, Ellie picks up, but we all know it's not Ellie because Ellie's down in the basement. And she goes, oh yeah, hi, kind of these weird kind of, yeah, I gotta wash my hair. Kind of weird, she basically says, oh yeah, I don't want to be bothered and all this stuff. And here's the thing. So Leonard uses the word we. We don't know if Leonard has an accomplice, which would definitely make it a little different than Misery, or Leonard's using technology to hide the fact that they're not talking to Ellie. And basically, the agent's kind of like, hangs up and basically says, well, it looks like she doesn't want to be bothered. However, he even picks up that there's something wrong with the conversation because the person on the phone makes several mistakes when he's talking to her. And if she really knows anything about the FBI, you make a couple mistakes when you're talking to a federal agent, the flags start popping up out of the ground like zombies coming out of the ground. Any agent who really cares about the possibility that this is not her, or this is her, or this is him, or this is not him, will be like, well, we're going to put the conversation through, and we're going to analyze how Ellie actually talks to how this Ellie talked. And if they don't match, we know that this is not Ellie we were talking to. So if they do that, which I'm hoping that he does that, if he does that and it comes back, and it will come back that the two Ellies are not the same, then that will tell the FBI Ellie's been kidnapped. And that's not what Leonard wants. Leonard wants nobody to know that Ellie's gone. But he, as I said, he's not the brightest apple in the barrel. Sorry, I have my inside lip. Yeah, he's not the brightest apple in the barrel. And yeah, so I am really fascinated by this book, and I'm definitely going to read the next 2 chapters. We'll see what happens. Now, Ellie suspects that she's met him, and she can't quite understand or figure out where. Here's another thing. One of the things about the book, it talks about nerd culture and about women in nerd spaces. And about how even though they're nerds, and they're not exactly popular, and they're not exactly liked because of who they are, or they have their view about women in nerd spaces. They don't like them there. However, they got no choice in the matter because women want to dress up as their favorite DC character or Marvel character. So, yeah, they have to come in because you have female characters in these comic books and movies. But to be an author in nerd spaces is something that that a lot of people in those spaces are very uncomfortable with. And the only reason they don't act like they really want to is because some of the organizers who allow these authors to come are women. or men that just won't put up with that bullshit. But you had Gamergate, and I'm not going into that but I really want to see if Ellie does manage to escape like Stephen King's author in Misery managed to do. Anyways, so I got almost, well, if I read chapters 9 and 10, I will have about 19 more chapters to go. So I should have this book read maybe by Monday, and I will do a full review of that book. Okay, I will end it here. Hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, stay spooky, stay scary, and keep reading your horror books. Bye.